After Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, everything changed. Life became much harder. The ground that once yielded food effortlessly now required backbreaking work. The world outside the garden wasn't as perfect or peaceful, but even in their struggle, there was still joy. God blessed them with children. Cain, their firstborn, brought hope for the future, and later, they welcomed his younger brother, Abel. These two boys grew up in a world far different from the paradise their parents had known, yet they carried with them the promise of a new beginning. Cain and Abel, two brothers with different paths, different purposes, but as we'll see, their choices lead them down very different roads. Cain was a farmer. Every day he worked hard to grow crops from the earth, breaking through tough soil and enduring the heat of the sun. His labor provided food for his family and a sense of purpose. Abel, on the other hand, was a shepherd. His days were spent tending to his sheep, leading them to green pastures and protecting them from danger, while Cain focused on the land. Abel found his purpose among the animals. Both brothers worked diligently, but their lives, their passions, and their purposes were very different. Yet, they shared something in common, a desire to honor God. In those days, people brought offerings to God as an act of worship, a way to show honor, gratitude, and faith. Cain brought some of his crops, the fruit of his hard work. Abel, however, chose the best of his flock, the firstborn lambs, the finest he had to offer. God accepted Abel's offering because it came from a heart of faith and gratitude. Abel gave the very best of what he had, not out of obligation, but out of love and reverence for God. But Cain's offering didn't please God, not because it was crops instead of animals, but because Cain's attitude wasn't right. He brought his offering out of routine, not devotion. His heart wasn't fully in it. Cain was furious. He felt rejected and humiliated. Instead of reflecting on his own heart and actions, he became consumed by jealousy. Why was Abel's offering accepted and not his? Why did his brother receive the favor that he longed for? Why are you angry, Cain? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you don't do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. God wasn't rejecting Cain as a person. He was speaking to him as a loving father, offering guidance and a chance to change. God was giving Cain the opportunity to examine his heart, to choose humility over pride, and to master the anger that threatened to consume him. But Cain didn't listen. His anger grew, and his jealousy took root, setting the stage for a tragedy that would change everything. Abel, come here, brother. Cain's anger and jealousy had festered, growing unchecked until it became something far worse. He couldn't let go of the bitterness that consumed him. One day, he invited Abel to the field, hiding his true intentions behind the mask of a brotherly gesture. In a moment of blind rage, Cain attacked his brother. Abel, whose life was full of promise and goodness, was struck down. His death was not the result of a conflict or argument, but the tragic end of Cain's unchecked anger and jealousy. Cain thought he could hide what he had done, but God sees everything. There is no act, no matter how secret, that escapes his sight. Where is your brother Abel? I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed because of what you've done. The ground that drank Abel's blood will no longer yield crops for you. From now on, you will be a restless wanderer on the earth. This punishment is too much for me to bear. You're driving me from the land, and I'll be hidden from your presence. Anyone who finds me will kill me. Not so. If anyone harms you, they will suffer sevenfold vengeance. I will place a mark on you so that no one who finds you will kill you. Even in his judgment, God showed mercy. He didn't abandon Cain entirely. Though Cain would live as a restless wanderer, carrying the weight of his actions, God ensured his life would be spared. Cain's actions brought pain and loss, not just to Abel, but to himself and his family. It was a tragic reminder of how sin, when left unchecked, can destroy relationships and lives. The story of Cain and Abel is about more than just a tragic conflict between two brothers. It's a profound warning about the dangers of jealousy and anger when left unchecked. Cain's story teaches us the importance of self-control, of taking responsibility for our actions, and the painful consequences when we refuse to listen to wisdom. When God told Cain, "Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it," he wasn't just speaking to Cain. He was warning us all. Sin doesn't often come roaring into our lives. It starts small. A thought, a feeling, a spark of jealousy or anger. But if we don't address it, if we let it grow unchecked, it can become something much bigger. Something that controls us. This story also teaches us about what it means to give our best to God. Abel's offering was accepted because it came from a heart full of faith, gratitude, and love. He gave his first and finest, not out of obligation, but out of a deep desire to honor God. Cain, on the other hand, gave his offering without true devotion. His heart wasn't in it. This reminds us that God doesn't just look at what we bring to him. He looks at the attitude behind it. Our actions, no matter how outwardly impressive, mean little if our hearts are not in the right place. In the end, Cain's story is not just a tragedy. It's a mirror for us. It asks us to look inward. Are we letting anger or jealousy fester in our hearts? Are we giving our best to God, or are we just going through the motions? And most importantly, are we listening when God gently calls us to change? Even when we make mistakes, God doesn't abandon us. He calls us to repent, to change, and to master the sin that seeks to control us. But the choice, like it was for Cain, is ours to make. Cain's life became a cautionary tale, a story told through generations to warn us of the dangers of letting anger and jealousy take root. But it didn't have to be that way. Cain had a choice, just like we all do. When faced with feelings of anger, jealousy, or bitterness, we have the power to choose. We can either let them consume us or turn to God for guidance, allowing him to transform our hearts. God's words to Cain still echo today. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? The story of Cain and Abel reminds us that no matter how far we've strayed, God is always ready to guide us back to the right path. The question is, will we listen?
If this message resonates with you, hit that like button and let the universe know you're ready for your breakthrough. Subscribe to our channel for more transformative insights and guidance on your journey to abundance. Share this video with friends and family who need to hear this today. Let's amplify our positive energy together. Your engagement not only helps us grow, but also strengthens the cosmic energy we are building as a community. Together, we can uplift each other and manifest our dreams into reality, one positive action at a time.